The driveway, once a barren stretch of cracked asphalt, stood as a silent monument to our neglect. A neglect that seemed to mirror the slow, aching deterioration of our marriage. Most nights, it remained empty, save for my own car, an unremarkable presence against a lonely expanse. But tonight, it was different. Tonight, it was crowded, not just with cars, but with his cars. 3 of them. They gleamed beneath the harsh, artificial glow of the streetlights. A cherry red Porsche, its curves exuding arrogance. A matte black Range Rover, a fortress on wheels, and a sleek silver Tesla, whispering quiet luxury. My heart clenched as recognition dawned. These were not just any cars. They were his. The same vehicles I'd seen time and time again, parked outside the exclusive restaurant where I had meticulously tracked her movements for the past 3 months. The restaurant where she had sworn she was attending a conference. And now they were here, in my driveway. My blood turned to ice. At the end of the driveway stood Elena, my wife. To any outsider, she would have appeared effortlessly elegant, poised, sophisticated. A designer handbag hung carelessly from her shoulder, a silent testament to the wealth and privilege she had come to embody. Her golden hair, styled to perfection, caught the light just so, framing her delicate features in a way that had once left me breathless. Around her neck was a silk scarf, a gift from me on our anniversary. The sight of it twisted something deep inside my chest. It was a cruel mockery now, a painful reminder of love I believed in, a love that had, piece by piece, crumbled into dust. She had no idea. She stood there, blissfully, terrifyingly oblivious. The sound of my car door slamming shattered the unnatural stillness of the night. Elena turned. For the briefest moment, her smile remained, a mask, a well-rehearsed performance of warmth and welcome. But then she saw my face. The facade wavered, cracked. Fear flickered in her eyes, but not the kind that spoke of regret. No, this was a shallow, self-preserving fear of being caught. "David," she breathed, her voice honeyed with forced sweetness, a tone that once might have soothed me, but now grated like nails on glass. "You're back early." I repeated the word, my voice unnervingly calm. Early. A slow, dangerous heat simmered beneath my skin. "Early," I said again, stepping forward, my gaze never leaving hers. "I tracked your conference, Elena. I followed you to the restaurant. I watched you." The smile was gone now. In its place was something brittle, an attempt at composure, a desperate grasp at control. "David, there's a perfectly reasonable explanation." I cut her off, my voice rising, the restraint beginning to slip. "A reasonable explanation?" I gestured sharply to the lineup of cars, their polished exteriors mocking me. "For 3 luxury cars belonging to the same man parked in my driveway? Is that the explanation you're about to give me?" Panic flared in her eyes, raw and undeniable. The mask of practiced sophistication was crumbling, piece by piece. She opened her mouth, but I stepped closer, my voice dropping to a venomous whisper. Don't even try." She froze. "I saw you," I continued, my words like sharpened glass. "I saw him. I saw the way he looked at you, the way you let him look at you, the way you laughed, the way you touched him. My breath was sharp, uneven, and you thought you could just waltz back in here as if nothing happened? As if I wouldn't know." The anger that had been festering, boiling beneath the surface for months, maybe years, erupted. It wasn't just about this night. It wasn't just about him. It was about every lie, every excuse, every quiet betrayal that had eroded us, day by day, until we were nothing more than strangers sharing the same bed. She choked on the word, her voice barely a whisper. "He's a client, a very important client." It was business. A harsh, humorless laugh tore from my throat. The sound of it rang in the night, hollow and bitter. "Business," I echoed. "Is that what we're calling it now? Business trips to high-end restaurants? Business trips that involve lingering touches, whispered secrets." My words cut deep, designed to wound, and I saw the way they did. She flinched, but I didn't care. She reached for me, desperation creeping into her expression, her fingers trembling as they sought mine. I stepped back. As her hand reached out, I instinctively recoiled, flinching away from the touch as if it burned. The very idea of her skin against mine repulsed me. "Don't," I said, my voice thick with emotion, strained with the weight of everything she had done. "Don't you dare touch me." I turned away, my back rigid, my heart pounding in my chest. I could still see them. The 3 gleaming cars lined up in the driveway. But they weren't just vehicles. No, they were monuments to her betrayal. Stark reminders of the life we had built together and how easily she had discarded it. Each one represented a broken dream, a shattered promise, a future I had envisioned and foolishly believed was ours. Now, they stood as a testament to her selfishness, her utter disregard for everything we had once shared. Ignoring her desperate pleas, I strode toward the house, my mind a cold, calculated storm. Every step felt heavier, yet somehow lighter at the same time, as if the burden of our failed marriage was finally lifting. The moment I stepped inside, I moved with deliberate purpose, fueled by rage, but guided by clarity. I grabbed my phone and dialed my lawyer first. There was no hesitation in my voice as I laid out my plans. Divorce, property division, custody arrangements for Buster, our dog, who had always been more mine than hers. It was swift, efficient, businesslike, a sharp contrast to the emotional hurricane raging inside me. Next, I called my accountant. Then, a moving company. All the while, Elena's sobbing filled the background, her voice breaking into desperate pleas. But I barely heard her. Her cries were nothing more than a distant hum beneath the carefully orchestrated dismantling of our life together. This wasn't just revenge, it was survival. It was about reclaiming my life, my dignity, my sanity, cutting away the poisonous tendrils of deception that had been strangling me for months. The next few hours passed in a blur. Packing, more phone calls. Each decision, each action, was another brick in the wall I was building between us. Between the man I used to be, the one who would love her blindly, and the man I was becoming. The following day was brutal. I filed for divorce first thing in the morning. Then, I initiated proceedings to freeze her assets. For months, I had quietly gathered evidence, meticulously documenting every indulgence, every extravagant purchase. The designer clothes, the lavish lunches, the frequent weekend getaways. Even the expensive gifts she had received from her so-called client. My lawyer was pleased. The evidence was damning. Elena's carefully curated world began to collapse with breathtaking speed. And Marco, the man whose name I had uncovered, the man she had lied to as easily as she had lied to me, was caught in the fallout. He had believed her when she told him we were separated, that our marriage was already over. Now, faced with the truth and the looming legal battle, he did what selfish men do. He distanced himself. The 3 luxury cars, once symbols of her supposed success, became grotesque reminders of her betrayal. Her social circle, once a web of admiration and envy, turned against her with whispers and sidelong glances. The illusion of the perfect wife, the ambitious businesswoman, shattered. Like a vase slipping from careless hands, her life fractured into irreparable pieces. I watched it all unfold from a distance, not with glee, but with quiet satisfaction. This wasn't about vengeance. It was about self-preservation. I had been deceived, humiliated, broken, but I had also found the strength to rise again, to reclaim what was rightfully mine. The anger still smoldered, a steady ember beneath the surface, but it no longer controlled me. Instead, it had been tempered into something sharper, something stronger, a quiet, unshakable resolve. 6 months later, the divorce was finalized. Elena walked away with far less than she had expected, a bitter consequence of her own deceit. The lavish lifestyle she had clung to slipped through her fingers. The social standing she had cherished crumbled beneath her. And Marco? He was gone too. She had gambled everything, and she had lost. And me? I found peace. The house felt different. Emptier, yes, but not in a way that ached. It was a clean slate, a space no longer tainted by her lies. A blank canvas on which I could paint a new life, free from the toxicity of her betrayal. Buster stayed with me, his unwavering loyalty a balm to the wounds she had left behind. One evening, long after the dust had settled, I sat on the porch, a glass of wine in my hand. The driveway was empty. The silence around me was profound. But this time, it wasn't the silence of loss. It was peace. A new chapter had begun. Elena's world had crumbled. But for me, the dawn had finally broken.